Hey everybody, Brian Horvath here. Excited to have you on this LinkedIn Live Q&A that we do every single Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, where I get to deliver to you hot tips and tricks and tactics and have a lot of fun sharing with you how to maximize LinkedIn for your benefit, to help you grow your career, help you to know, live, and love the purpose for your career and finances. And ultimately, I want you to make the right connections on LinkedIn. The right connections to me are the ones that matter. Help you get business done, help you have fun while getting business done, and help you make, be an influencer, be a leader, to be an influencer of men and women, and also to be influenced by those people that can help you become the best you, the one that will help you live out and love the purpose for which you were created. So LinkedIn is the number one place, the most professional place, the largest professional network in the world. Over 740 million people use it. Over 95% or about 95% of recruiters use it daily to find people like you. If you're looking for W-2 work or 1099 work or consulting or whatever the case may be, LinkedIn is the place to be, to grow and go in your career, to develop your career, to get skills you need to fill out career or skills gaps. But ultimately, I love it because it has two main purposes. You connect with people and opportunities and people connect with you. It's a two-way street. You can be proactive, you can be reactive, but ultimately, I want to help you. Ultimately, I want to help you know this is not a skip in the recording. I want to help you make the right connections on LinkedIn. And that's what I'm here to do. My name is Brian Horvath. I am the CEO and president of the Horvath Training Institute, if you didn't know that already. And my purpose in my business is to help people know, live, and love the purpose for their career and finances. And LinkedIn is a tool. Our career and finances are tools to help us with our life purpose. So you ready to get going? Today we have a lot of things to talk about, including a cool question that I got on LinkedIn just a few minutes ago. I'm going to share with you the answer to that question, what I believe the answer to that question is, and then we'll wrap up with some next steps. Got it? So we try to run these about 30 minutes every Wednesday at noon Eastern Standard Time, whether you want to drop in a question during the week for me to answer, or you want to give me feedback live here and questions you have to answer. And forgive me, I'm struggling with a little bit of allergy, so if I do this every once in a while, I know I shouldn't be doing that on video, right? But I'm a real person with real allergies. And here in Florida, it's we're cracking into beautiful weather for us, and allergies tend to pop up at the same time. Oh, joy. But anyway, just want to share with you that I'm excited, elated to have you today here on this LinkedIn Live Q&A. So let's get going here. Let's jump into the LinkedIn Live Q&A. Again, every Wednesday, I'm Brian Horvath, your host, and I get to have fun with you doing these every day. So reminder, every Wednesday, LinkedIn Live Q&A. Mark your calendars. And of course, you can email me your questions, as I mentioned, to brian@brianhorvath.com. I don't care how small or how large, whatever the question is, it's important to you. It's important that I get to respond. It's important that as I get to receive your questions, I also get to learn. And if I don't know it off the top of my head, I go research it, and we all learn together. That's the value I believe I add, and that's how I want to help you to make those right connections on LinkedIn, the largest professional network in the world, and it's getting better every day. So really cool stuff. So let's go ahead and go forward. So take that down, take a screenshot if you want to email me a question now or throughout the day or throughout the week. We're glad to get on the show ASAP. Okay, today's topic is going to be how to back up your LinkedIn connections. How to back up your LinkedIn connections. You work hard, or you will be working hard, depending on how experienced you are with LinkedIn or not. You'll be working hard on building connections. It's one of the major pieces, the major components within the universe of LinkedIn, on the LinkedIn platform, that's going to help you be the most effective. That's going to help you make the right connections. Your network is important. And I often explain it like this. Let's say we got this large universe, right, in the world, and we're just a piece in it, right? We're a person in it. We're trying to know, live, our love, our purpose in this gigantic world with, billions of people, right? And so what I want you to do is I want you to be found. I want you to be noticed. I want you to be recognized. How you add value to the marketplace. What sets you apart? What do you do best? And how do you serve those who need it the most? These are all some of the content I share within LinkedIn. You can check out my YouTube channel and get some of the past LinkedIn Live Q&As where I break down some of these little nuggets, some of these topics that you can dive into as appropriate for you. But we're in this large universe. We're just one person in billions of people, right, in the world. And how are we going to be found? How are we going to be noticed? How are we going to be recognized? How are we going to connect with the right people? Well, imagine, let's take this world, let's make it a convention or a conference, maybe in Las Vegas or Orlando or somewhere where large people gather. And let's forget about COVID for a moment or any pandemic. Let's just talk about we're a normal everyday convention season. I live in Tampa, so Orlando, a couple, hour and a half down the road here. Convention season is huge starting in October. Late September, October to maybe the first week in November, and then it pauses before Christmas comes. Then after the New Year, we get a lot of people that come into town, come into Florida for convention season, which is great, which is awesome. And maybe you've been here for one of those, and the great weather and great times, everyone's learning and connecting. Well, let's take that large convention as the universe that we're in. And let's say you're trying to find the exact people, and the exact people are trying to find you, where you're going to be able to connect with those people who need most what you do best. So how do you do that in this large convention hall? And you only got a couple of days to do it. And everyone's running all over the place doing things. And sometimes you're even off property at night at an event or a dinner, or sometimes you're in a different ballroom or a different salon or a different little breakout room, whatever. How are you supposed to do that? Well, you have to search. You have to know who's there. You have to be willing to make connections. You ask certain kinds of questions. You exchange your elevator pitch, and eventually you find the right people. You make the right connections. So when you go home from that convention, you feel like you were successful. Well, that's what LinkedIn can be, but LinkedIn's large. It's a vast universe. It's a big convention hall. How do you make sure you get into those right circles? How do you make sure you get into those right connections? How do you make those right life-changing connections potentially for you to really move your business or move the needle in your job or move the needle in your sales career or whatever the case may be? Well, you have to start somewhere. And as you start building a database. You start building a kind of like a Rolodex, if you will, of connections. And you don't want to lose those connections. Those connections are vital to you. You worked hard to get to those places. And that's kind of what we want to talk about today. How do you not lose all those connections? How do you keep all those business cards, if you will, virtual digital business cards within LinkedIn? How do you keep those for yourself? How do you make sure they don't ever get taken away from you? Or if somehow your LinkedIn password gets lost and you have to start over, or somehow your LinkedIn gets hacked, which doesn't happen often. I don't think I've met more than one person that's had their LinkedIn hacked online and they've lost all their data. I want to help you save that data. I want to help you take all that hard work that you've blood, sweat, and tears, your sweat equity that you put into building a network, building connections, making those moves, if you will, in your industry or in your vertical market, whatever the case may be. I don't want you to lose that stuff. So I'm going to show you a nifty little way to back up your connections. Because let's be honest, we are leasing real estate, digital real estate within LinkedIn. Same with Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media platform you use, we're leasing real estate. They could change algorithms, they could change permissions, they could change privacy, whatever the case may be. And one day you may not be able to get these things, or at least as you know it today. Well, I want to help you to make the right connections, to back up those connections as you go forth in your LinkedIn land. Got it? So let me go ahead and move some things around here so we can get cracking at connecting, at making those right connections and keeping those right connections. That's the topic of today. But before we do that, let's do a review of last week. Last week we talked about how to reach and take action with, how to get prospective LinkedIn employers to contact you, to call you immediately. And what we talked about last week on Wednesday was a call to action. We all need CTAs in our life. If we're going to make any kind of major, if we're going to make any kind of major business deals, if we're going to make any kind of quarter turn connections, meaning that they may not seem crazy, like huge at the time, but over time, these connections take shape. And all of a sudden, what we thought was maybe a small little handshake or small little meet and greet online becomes a major, major partnership, or a great client, or you become a great client of somebody else, whatever the case may be. You don't want to forget about CTAs. CTAs are what help those transactions come to be, what help those relationships form, which help you take the next right steps with whoever you want to take the right next steps with on LinkedIn. A call to action is simply this. It's a marketing term, as you see right there in front of you. It's a marketing term that we use in marketing, whether it's marketing yourself, your product, your service, your nonprofit, your job opening, your how you can serve an employer. We're all marketing, we're all transitioning our enthusiasm to something that we have that we want to provide to others. There's no shame in this marketing or sales game. We are all selling. And I heard it once said, if you're trying to convince someone you're not a salesperson or you're not marketing or selling, well, in essence, you're marketing and selling. You're trying to convince somebody or persuade somebody to believe something else about you than what maybe they currently believe. Okay, that's a whole nother LinkedIn Live topic. But a call to action is a marketing term that refers to a next step any of us as marketers want an audience or a reader or a connection to take. And we need to have these sprinkled all throughout our resume, our LinkedIn profile, our conversations that we have. They're on our phones, they're on our business cards, they're in our text messages, they're in our emails. Someone just to take the next step, whether it's small as of connecting for the first time, having a conversation about a product or service or a common interest or bond or reason to connect, or if it's asking for something to happen in that relationship. Those are all CTAs, and they take somebody up the value ladder with you in a relationship, and someone takes you up the value ladder in the relationship you have with them or they have with you. So don't ever be intimidated by a CTA. We all should have a call to action, all to have a next step. And the next step I want you to take with me is stay focused, because we're going to get to today's topic. But there are two kinds of CTAs we reviewed last week. A soft CTA, which is more like an invitation, not an expectation. You're not hard driving. You're inviting someone to take a look or take a next step in a very soft kind of way. Hey, would you consider looking at this? Hey, if you're interested in any of this, I invite you to email me. Or if you'd love to have a phone call, that'd be great. No worries if not. Very soft. But a hard CTA is more of a firm question. You're calling out a specific point in a relationship or a conversation you have with someone, and you're kind of leaning into their pain they're experiencing. You're leaning into the solution that you guys talked about and how you could provide it. It's a very specific, firm command or asking someone to make a decision kind of on the spot. I would like to have a phone call with you about that conversation we had last week about a solution that I think I can offer your company. I would like to have a conversation with you right now. Let's jump on a Zoom. Here's my link. Or if this sounds like you, let's take a next step. Or if you're an employer that's having a problem with your culture, I can help you solve it by helping people know, live, and love their purpose right there on your team so that they come to work more fired up, more excited, and ready to work as a team to help you grow profits and performance, and they get rewarded with revenue. I'm just making this off the top of my head, but there are two kinds of CTAs, a soft CTA and a hard CTA. So that was a review of last week. And I have a little LinkedIn question. A little LinkedIn question that came in is actually a great question. Your LinkedIn questions answered. That's what I'm going to provide for you here on these LinkedIn Live trainings. And if you're watching this on YouTube as a recording, this is going to suit you as well. And here's the question that came in. Take a look at it right here on the screen. A LinkedIn question came in today, just this morning. Read it for a second while I take a drink. This is from Sudha. Sudha said, Brian, I want to get clients. How do I approach right people, the right people on LinkedIn? I get so many conflicting messages. I'm confused. None of them worked. Well, I would suggest this. Great question, Sudha, and thank you for that. She's an online business success coach. And LinkedIn is one of those kind of, it's why I do these videos, actually. It's kind of one of those missing pieces for a lot of marketers or people that have maybe been on Facebook or Instagram or other social media platforms, Twitter, and haven't really taken off on LinkedIn. They're kind of going, how do I transition into this LinkedIn space, which is the largest professional network in the world? And of course, if it's the largest professional network, just like a convention can be, that we talked about in my example earlier, it can be crowded. It can be noisy. It can be confusing at times. But I suggest a strategy. And a strategy is this, and I've talked about these in former videos, is seek to serve. First of all, Sudha, take a breath, take a break maybe from what you've been doing and just kind of analyze where you've been and where you want to go. And then I would say cover that or envelop that into a seek to serve perspective, a seek to serve mentality or mindset. Okay. Ultimately, you have value. We all have value. We all do something best that others need the most. We have something we all do best and others need it the most. So what I like to say is, with a seeking to serve mindset, I want to serve those who need most with what I do best. So Sudha, I would say, and I haven't looked at your profile just yet to say that, what do you do best? Are you seeking to serve those who need most what you do best? And once you get to that target, that focused place, then you craft your messaging to be able to reach them with that. And what you want to do is first just build relationships online the best you can. And it's an old marketing thing. We've all heard it. You want folks to know you, like you, and then trust you. And I wish it was like in a day, right? Oh, they know me now because we're connected. They like me because we were just, personable. And they trust me just, well, because they do. Well, obviously you and I both know if we don't know them offline or in person already, it's going to be hard to quickly build rapport online without having met them personally. And that's why you see a lot of schools of thought where folks go, don't blow up your network to folks you don't know personally. I disagree with that because of many other reasons, but I think you can't possibly meet everyone that you can serve with what you do best. So online is a great space to go out and make more connections to people you may never ever meet personally, meaning face to face. So in this case, to go back to your question, I would say is you want to get to know them. And that requires you to be able to be found by the right people on LinkedIn when they're searching. And you want to be able to find the right people when you're searching. And that can be done a couple of different ways. One, you want to have your keywords in your profile in the right place so that the algorithms behind the scenes on LinkedIn can connect you with the right people you're trying to serve. And as you're going out and searching for those people that you want to serve, your ideal market or your ideal avatar, client avatar, or whatever you might have heard it said, or your your ideal persona, those you're trying to serve, right? Those who need most what you do best, right? Once you start figuring out what those people are like, then you start using keywords in your search to focus your effort onto those people. And then I think you write them a nice LinkedIn connection message that's saying, hey, I connect with you because when I was searching for folks, I found your profile and I serve people like you with this kind of service or this kind of product. Would you be open to connecting that maybe down the road as the needs arise, I could be someone you go to for the help that you may need? That's one way to do it. It's a little bit more, it's kind of in a little bit more the hard CTA. The soft CTA in that regard could be, or the soft invite could be, hey, I noticed something in your profile. I really appreciate it about you. I have similar interests like that, or I work with people in that space. I'd love to connect with you if you're interested. I hope you'd have me. Thanks in advance, Sudha, or Brian, or whoever. And after time, you start building rapport with those people. Maybe set a weekly schedule for you to connect with 10 to 20 to 30, whatever people in a little bit deeper way with something you have to offer them. Maybe it's a free item or a free service or a free webinar or workshop, just because you focused your research, you focused your messaging on those kinds of folks, and what you're saying to them really meets them where they're at. Some will, some won't. But over time, you just keep building that rapport. So maybe like what I'm doing is having a weekly program where you're adding value to people. Maybe it's a live Q&A. Maybe it's a weekly email. I'm not sure what you have out there online to offer people. But those are some of those things that add value, that share with what you do best with those who need it the most. And then as they know you, as they like you, and then they trust you with the content you're providing, you're able to take them up the place where maybe they become a paying client. Okay. Some will, some won't. I kind of put it into a third, a third, a third. A third of the people need you like ASAP. They just don't know it yet. A third of the people, they may seem like they need you. Everything looks like you could be a great fit for them and them a great fit for you. They just won't take steps. And then there's the third in the middle that, depending on your messaging, depending on what you bring to the market and how you've connected with them and interacted with them, they'll take next steps with you. So really, when you add that all up, it's 2/3 of people will actually take next steps with you with your product or service. They could be potentially a paying client. So just something for you to think about as you go on and serve people. Again, I want to get clients. How do I approach the right people on LinkedIn? I got so many conflicting messages. I'm confused. None worked. Again, be you so they know you. Be you so they like you. Be you so they trust you. But share the value you have to add to the marketplace. And depending on your keywords you also have in your profile, and it's what I like to call the ultimate LinkedIn profile. We have the right keywords in the right places so that when you're even sleeping, people are connecting with you 24/7, 365 because they're searching for someone just like you. Hope that helps. There's a lot of content there, a lot of things we can unpack, but that should lead you in the right direction. Good luck and love to hear how it goes and continue to build a rapport and dialogue with you. Thanks. All right, great questions. These are the kind of questions we can dive into because usually if you have the question, someone else does too. So why not seek to serve and put your question out there, submit it to me, and we'll get it answered here on one of the shows, if not beforehand. Okay, so back to today's topic. We have a couple minutes left. That was, we're about 10 minutes left. Today's topic is how to back up your LinkedIn connections. How to back up your LinkedIn connections. And again, we said why this is important. It's important because if you've been on LinkedIn for some time, and you've been building connections, okay, then you want to back up the contacts or those connections. Now, sometimes I say contacts, and sometimes I say connections. Connections are folks where you've mutually decided to be connected on LinkedIn, right? You either invited them and they said, yes, I'd love to be a part of Brian's network, or I invited them they invited you and you say, yes, I'd love to be a part of Sudha's network or John's network or Lisa's network, whatever the case may be. Okay, that's a connection. That's something that you can back up. You want to be able to back up your connections as well as be able to keep that if you need to re-upload that. Let me back up a second. So let's say LinkedIn shuts down, or let's somehow say you lost all your LinkedIn connections. You want to back those up now, so later on, if you have to start fresh over, you can actually import all those LinkedIn connections back into your network and be able to connect with those people so you don't lose them, right? That's important to do. And if LinkedIn decides to change how they do things or their business model or whatever the case may be, if you back that up, you're going to have those connections that you work so hard to build over time. And if people allow their certain kinds of information to be backed up, like their email address, their company name, and so on and so forth, you'll get that in addition to their name and when you actually connected with them on LinkedIn. So let's show you where to do that. How to back up your LinkedIn connections. We're going to go ahead and do a little live demo here on the screen so you can see exactly how I do that. So let me go ahead and flip over to my demo mode. And we're going to hop over to Chrome. And here is where I'm at right now within my LinkedIn profile. Let me close some windows that are open for me so I can see my screen, and we'll jump into how to do that. So here I am. I've logged in. I'm on my LinkedIn profile homepage, right? So, or actually I'm on my profile. If I click home, it's going to bring me to, my feed and my news and so on and so forth. But let me go ahead and let's see here. Let me go ahead and just want to zoom in a little bit. There we go. All right. So what we want to do first to go back up our connections, there's a couple ways to do it, but the quickest way is go to your Me section right up to the top, scroll down to I'm going to move my mouse, settings and privacy. Okay. And when you jump over to privacy, you'll see get a copy of your data or data, however you like to say it. I'm going to click that and it's going to open up this little note. Your LinkedIn data belongs to you and you can download and archive at any time or view the rich media you have uploaded. Well, what you would do is you want to back up your connections. We just talked about that. You can download your whole archive, almost like your whole profile and everything in it. Okay. But what I want to help you do is I want to help you back up just your connections. So you want something in particular, you'll click right there, and then you'll come over here and click connections. Now mine's currently grayed out because before I got on this program today, before I got on this live today, I went ahead and did this so I can show you what happens. Once you click this, want something in particular, then I click connections, it will say request backup or request archive. Right now you see download archive, but what will say there is request archive. And then I click that, and then it will tell me that soon, probably within 10 to 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how big your connection levels are, or your connection database is, your download will be, it will take a little bit of time. And then you'll get a LinkedIn email saying your download, your archive is ready. So let me show you what that archive email looks like. You can see it right here. Your LinkedIn archive is ready. There we go. So you can see right here that my LinkedIn data archive fast file is ready. You can download your data archive using this link. So I then go to click that. It's going to take you right back to where we just were on LinkedIn. And let me get back to that for us. It's going to take us right back here. I'm going to click download archive. And of course the download's going to come. And it gives me a connection CSV file, which is a comma separated value. Very basic. You can use, open up on LinkedIn. And this is what it provides me. What it's going to give me is their first and last name. It's going to give me their email address. It's going to give me their company name. It's going to give me the position that they held in when I downloaded it. And it's going to give me the connected on date. Okay, it's going to give me the connected on date. Now, something I want to share with you, let me go back up here and make this smaller again. What I want to share with you guys here is many times people will allow their email address to be shared. Okay. As you can see here, here's email address. And I want to sort by the email address column. So you can see here real quick, I didn't do it the way I normally would do it, but I want to show you for speed's sake. Here's a lot of emails from folks I'm connected with. Okay. Folks I'm connected with. And why that's important is if I wanted to reach out to them, I could reach out to them off of LinkedIn. Now, what you want to do with that, though, is you want to do that with the most ethics and integrity. And if you have an email list, let's say you are a salesperson or online marketer, or you do a lot of things online digitally, you don't want to just add them to your email list without having been given permission to do so. That would be a no-no. And really, it results in a lot of spam. Complaints about you can result in a lot of folks going, why did you email me? Where'd you get my email address? And I don't think it'd be proper. The better way to do it is if you want to invite them to join your email list, is for you to say to them, hey, I downloaded my contacts. You were in my, you were in my database, and I'd love to be able to connect with you on your, I'd like to be able to invite you to join my email list. And here's what I'm doing. So for example, Sridhar, if you're still watching this, or if you see this later, that could be a way that you can connect with people as you build your network. You can invite them offline to take a look more into what you're doing. But I wouldn't make that a weekly thing, because then it becomes a mass marketing deal and becomes an email campaign. I would send them one and done and go, here's what I'm doing. Love to have you check it out. Would you be willing to join my email list? Here's the place to go do that. And that's it. I wouldn't spam them. I just don't think that's the right way to build up them knowing you, liking you, and trusting you. So not to pick on you, Sudha, that you would do that, but just an example to the earlier conversation we had. So very good stuff, guys. I hope that helped you. That's a quick way to back up your contacts. Now, I would suggest backing those up once a quarter. So that you're staying fresh. Depending on how much you're building your network and so on and so forth, I would encourage you to do that once a quarter. So I hope you got a lot out of that. As you can see here, when you go to privacy, you go to your, you log in, you go to me up top, you go to settings and privacy, you go down to your data archive, and you can download whether it's your connections, you can download your activity, you can download the whole kit and caboodle, everything into a file offline. I would suggest maybe doing that once a year, or maybe twice a year, whatever the case may be, what may suit you, especially if you're a content provider and creator like I am, that you want to have that stuff. You don't want to lose all that media and all those writings and articles and so on and so forth. But if you're specifically using it just as a way to connect with people or employers, and you're not necessarily a content provider or a content creator, then once every quarter I think is a good rhythm or cadence to get into. So hope you enjoyed that. If you have any questions or I missed something, you can obviously rewind this video if you're watching it in a later date, or go ahead and email me at brian@brianhorvath.com. Now, next week's live is going to be exciting. I was talking to a good friend of mine. He's a business owner, and he said, Brian, is LinkedIn Premium worth it? And I actually get that question a lot. I talk about it in a lot of my webinars and things like that. But LinkedIn LinkedIn Premium, I'm going to talk to you next week about the top 5 reasons why you should have LinkedIn Premium and other reasons why you shouldn't, because this isn't for everyone. I have it, but it's something, I'm on LinkedIn all the time, and I believe I value in it what I do and as I teach you about it. But for you, it may not be for you. Find out next week live, as well as sending me your questions to brian@brianhorvath.com. Every Wednesday, we do this at noon. Email me your questions that you may have, brian@brianhorvath.com, and I'd love to serve you and add value to you, help you to make the right connections on LinkedIn. And that's where you can send that. So again, next week, top 5 reasons why you should have LinkedIn Premium and other reasons why you shouldn't. I invite you to join me next Wednesday on my Facebook page, facebook.com/thebrianhorvath. That's where we'll have this live video feed, and you can fill in the comments and ask questions as we go, as well as tell me how this stuff is helping you. Getting a lot of nice comments on my YouTube channel. You can find that at youtube.com/Brian Horvath on purpose. That's a new channel, up to like 135 subscribers now. Very cool and growing, and really using that in a great way to help people know, live, and love their purpose for their career and finances. And coming soon, going to have a class, an online course called the Ultimate LinkedIn Profile. Last year I had something called the Ultimate LinkedIn Web Class. Transition that to call the Ultimate LinkedIn Profile, so we can answer all these questions and more in an online class. That's coming out very soon. Be on the lookout for that. And in the meantime, I don't have the slide, do I, right in front of me right now, but I'd invite you to check out my How to Make the Right Connections on LinkedIn free workshop at brianhorvath.com/LinkedIn, brianhorvath.com/LinkedIn. And you can watch that on demand and really go deeper dive in some of the stuff I'm talking about today. And really appreciate you. So glad you're here. Don't forget, Brian Horvath or Brian at brianhorvath.com. Send me your questions. We'll feature them on the next show. And it's a pleasure to help you and me, people like you and me, to know, live, and love their purpose for our career and finances.